The Golden State Warriors had an interesting offseason. It wasn't an amazing one that left fans with resounding confidence that they'd be contending again next season, but it wasn't bad that you couldn't see them making a legitimate run for the NBA championship. With the team not playing together in so long at full health, there are a lot of unknowns with this team, and there's still a lot of debate about this team's chances next season and how well they can actually do. Are they a legit title contender still? Or has the window shut for the former dynasty? In today's video, I'll be taking a look at the Warriors offseason so far, the key members of their roster going into next season, and overall discussing why I believe they are as good as a team as any to make it out of the Western Conference in 2022. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to reach 18,000 subscribers, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that being said, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. The first thing we have to talk about for Golden State is the exciting return of Klay Thompson. After doing both of his Achilles and ACL within 18 months of each other, Klay has had to miss over 2 seasons of action, which for any NBA fan is terrible to see, as he's one of the more likable players in the sport. In terms of his impact for Golden State though, I feel like a lot of people are kind of forgetting about the type of impact he can have for this team and how much he benefits his teammates like Steph Curry. Klay is going to be able to space the floor extraordinarily for the Warriors, and that spacing is what is so critical for guys like Curry to succeed and win championships. Curry is going to face nowhere near as many double or triple teams that we saw in the past couple of seasons, because Klay Thompson is a type of guy that's going to make teams hesitant of doing so. That's how great of a shooter he is, he just can't be left alone. There's plenty of well-reasoned doubts with Klay involving his return. He's obviously suffered 2 significant, devastating injuries that not many players return from at the same level. But personally, I don't think these injuries will affect him all that much, at least compared to another player. Compared to a player that relies heavily on athleticism, Klay isn't asked to do that much physically for the Warriors. He's not like a Westbrook where he succeeds off dunking and getting to the rack. All he has to do to be effective is run around and find room on the perimeter. For that reason, I think we'll see Klay play at an all-star level at minimum 80% of what he was in his last healthy season. And that's why I think his return is going to be so beneficial for the Warriors and their success for next season. As I mentioned, Golden State didn't have a terrific off-season, but to have an all-star player return is perhaps all they need to get back in the title hunt. Obviously, the most impactful player to this team is Stephen Curry. Curry was a candidate for the MVP last season after he dominated the league with scoring and playmaking, averaging a league-high 32 points per game and 6 assists to go on top of that. He had another ridiculously efficient year with a true shooting percentage of 65.5%. But the craziest thing of all this past season for Curry was the ridiculous impact he made statistically for Golden State. It's easy to see it in his on and off numbers. When Curry was on the floor for Golden State in 2021, they had an offensive rating of 115.2, placing them around 10th in the league. When he was off the floor, however, things dramatically changed, with the Warriors having an offensive rating of 104, which would place them last in the NBA. That's a difference of over 10, which is simply ridiculous and historic. The gravity Curry has is simply insane, and as I've shown with a handful of stats today, there's no way that the Warriors are a playoff caliber team last season without him. Next season, we are going to see the same impact, but probably have that impact lead to a greater level of success. The supporting cast around Curry has slightly strengthened this offseason, with of course the return of Klay, so he's going to benefit from that hugely. It won't be such a carry job for him anymore, and the Warriors should experience more success with less of a strain on Steph offensively. What I'm trying to get at here is Curry is going to be just as good next season for Golden State, but that play is going to now contribute to more wins. Because again, he's less likely to get doubled, and he now has a stronger supporting cast that will be able to lift him when he's off the floor. That's going to lead to some amazing results for Golden State and should see them back in the title contention race next season. Again, we know how good Curry is, but what's exciting next season is we're going to see that impact and talent paired with much higher quality players, and that, as we've seen in previous seasons, could be championship quality stuff. Steph is going to be elite again in 2022, there's no doubt, and it'll be largely off the back of his play that sees Golden State hunting down a 4th championship in the last decade. The next player on Golden State that I want to talk about is Draymond Green. Green makes a huge positive impact on this team, and that gets overshadowed a lot due to his lack of a shot and mediocre stats, so casual fans tend to ignore or simply not realize his importance to this team. He's the #1 playmaker on this team, has a thorough understanding of the game of basketball, and how the gravity his teammates pull can lead to buckets. His defensive IQ is out of this world as well. He's really overall the anchor to this team. He's arguably Golden State's most impactful piece behind Curry, some say more so he deserves plenty of love for that in my view. Yes, he can have brain fades, but we know how elite he can be at his best, and his presence, leadership and skill is critical to Golden State's success. So I think it's time we start appreciating the things Draymond does a little bit more. Another player I really like on this Warriors roster is Jordan Poole. Poole struggled to start his career, shooting horrendously to begin it, and it seemed that trend would continue throughout last season until Poole had his stint in the G League. While there, it became evident that Poole had been utilized incorrectly by Golden State, and that he was much more effective as a ball handler and someone who controlled the offense rather than a spot-up shooter in the corner. Once returning to the big league, his confidence had grown and Steve Kerr got him rolling in a more suitable role. And since, Poole has not stopped improving. Since returning from the G League on March 1st, Poole had a 38-point performance, 4 games scoring 20 plus points, and another 5 games where he scored 15 or more points. That is just a sign of what's to come on a more consistent basis next season. The Warriors had an interesting offseason, not exactly an elite one, but what they did do was seemingly open up plenty of playing time for Poole to play point guard off the bench behind Stephen Curry. There are not many guys at all on this roster who are going to take Poole's minutes outside of Steph, so I think it's evident that the Warriors want to use him as a key element of their second unit offense. For that reason, I have firm belief that Jordan Poole will continue to elevate his game next season and have a breakout year, and in the process, probably put himself in the conversation for the 6th Man of the Year, allowing for Golden State to re-emerge as title contenders. The championship Warriors team of previous seasons had one thing in common, and that was a deep bench. And while right now it may not seem like Golden State has a stacked squad outside of the obvious stars, guys like Jordan Poole will be willing to prove that that is not actually the case, and it's why I still have Golden State bouncing back next season. Some other players who will be important for Golden State next season are Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and Otto Porter Jr. Otto Porter Jr. was probably the biggest free agency signing Golden State made this offseason, and the shooting he can provide on such a cheap contract is an amazing pickup for them. Wiggins will continue to add more depth to the Warriors' scoring prowess, and if he can remain consistent, he will be able to space the floor even further for Curry. Wiggins can still be a transcendent level scorer at his best, so if he can find a rhythm next season early on, Golden State are going to be in a good position. Wiggins is also a near elite defender now. He evolved amazingly in that area last season where he was all defensive team caliber. So I think that impact will yet again be crucial for the Warriors next season. Finally, on to James Wiseman. He gets a fair share of criticism by Warriors fans, and many casuals believe that Golden State may have made the wrong pick when they decided to draft him 2nd overall last year. However, I think that is completely unfair, as Wiseman suffered from the injury bug quite a bit and was never able to get into a consistent flow. Sure, his defense is a bit concerning, but he's an amazing fit next to guys like Steph and Draymond and plays the center role perfectly in Golden State's system. If he's able to remain healthy next season, more people will understand why he was selected 2nd overall and why he's such a great fit in the Bay Area. So be sure to keep an eye out for Wiseman's play next season. a legitimate X factor for this side. So those are all the players on this team that I think will make a big impact next season and potentially lead them on a deep playoff run. Obviously, there's some other guys like Juan Toscano-Anderson who are important role players for Golden State, but I don't want to drag this video on for too long, so I just wanted to focus on the main elements of this Warriors core today. Anyway, with that being said, how good will the Warriors be next season realistically? Can they actually make a deep playoff run? Right now, I'd have Golden State sitting around the 3rd to 4th best team in the West. On paper, the Lakers are the only team I have comfortably above them, and I think an argument can definitely be made for teams like Phoenix and maybe Utah. But even then, I can definitely see the Warriors beating them in a 7-game series, if fully healthy of course. The Warriors are looking great on paper, and again, if they're at full strength come playoff time, they can be a side that can beat anyone on a good day. But yeah, I don't think a Western Conference Finals appearance is out of reach, especially if Curry can have a ridiculous season similar to last. Overall though, these are my thoughts on the Golden State Warriors going into 2022. The big reason why I'm making this video is because I feel like some fans are forgetting about how great the Warriors can be at full strength. As I've already reminded you, Stephen Curry is one of the top 3 players in the world at his best, top 5 at worst. That kind of player is having an all-star caliber player return next to him next season after a year where he didn't have anything near that. Not only that, but the other role players around Steph are making leaps in their game too, most notably Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins. To think the Warriors will improve on last season is an understatement. The scoring prowess of this team is better, the team is deeper, and features guys who fit a lot better with the stars than previous seasons, like the addition of Otto Porter Jr. Yes, the offseason wasn't great for them. They certainly could have done better, and losing guys like Eric Pascal will hurt a bit. But I think overall, the Warriors are set up really well for next season. If Klay can come back to a high level, he's going to make a world of difference, and Golden State should be able to, at minimum, lock in a home court advantage playoff spot. Winning the West will be tough, but I don't think the idea of them doing so should be overlooked at all. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? How good will the Golden State Warriors be next season to you? What seed will they finish up as at the end of the 2022 regular season? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.